Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. If you are not sure which stocks to invest, but still want to invest in stock market and want to maximize your returns, then you should consider investing in mutual funds. In this video, we will be discussing about what are mutual funds, different types of mutual funds, and what type of mutual fund suits you based on your risk appetite and time horizon. Also, we will be discussing on why one should go for mutual funds and how we can invest in mutual funds. Please watch this video if you already invest in mutual funds and if you are looking to invest in mutual funds in the near future. I am sure this video is going to be very informative, so please don't skip the video and stay tuned till the end. Let's start our discussion with a cup of tea and samosa. First, let's try to understand what is a mutual fund. A mutual fund is a pool of money managed by a professional fund manager. Basically, it is a trust that collects money from a number of investors and invests the same amount in equities, debts, bonds or gold as well. Broadly, if we consider there are three types of mutual funds. The first type of mutual fund is equity fund, the second is debt fund, and the third is hybrid fund. First, let's understand debt and hybrid funds. There is very little risk in debt funds because here your money is invested in corporate and government bonds which can give you fixed returns. But where the risk is less, the returns are also less. That's why debt funds generally don't give a lot of returns. On the other hand, if we talk about hybrid funds, they are a mix of equity and debt. That's why it is often called a mixed asset fund. In case of hybrid funds, some part of your investment is made on equity and some part would be on debt, so that the risk is managed. Now let's move on to the equity funds. In case of equity funds, your money is invested in equity, that is, in the stocks of different companies. We can divide this equity fund into 6 different types. The first type of equity fund in this is the index fund. In the index funds, the asset management company, or AMC, directly invests your money in indices such as Nifty 50 or Sensex. And the investment in this fund is done based on the same percentage in which the stock has a weightage in the indices. Let me explain you with the help of an example. HDFC Bank in Nifty 50 has a weightage of 14.1%. Then in this case, the index fund will also invest 14.1% of its total fund in HDFC Bank. Similarly, the amount of weightage of each stock in the index, the fund will invest its money in that stock at the same percentage. So, faster the index increases, more returns the index fund will generate for you. Because the index performs well in the long term. The fund manager, who manages the fund, does not need to actively manage the fund. That's why it is also called as passive fund, because everything is fixed here. The second type of equity mutual fund is the large cap fund. In this case, your money is invested in those stocks or companies which are India's top 100 companies on the basis of market capitalization. That means the fund manager can invest your money in any of India's top 100 companies. The third type of fund is the mid-cap fund. Here, the money in this is invested in mid-cap companies that are according to their market capitalization or size, which come from 101st number to 250th number. Fourth fund is small cap fund. The money is invested in those companies which are very small in size or market capitalization. That means your money in this is invested in those companies which are other than India's top 250 companies. And after this, fifth type of fund we have is multi-cap fund. Now, you must be understanding from its name itself that your money in this fund is invested in 3 types of companies proportionately within small cap companies, large cap companies, and mid cap companies. so that you get the benefit of all these three funds. But here there is a rule in India that, in order to make any fund a multi-cap fund, the asset management company has to invest 25% money in all three funds. That means, fund manager has to allocate 25% in small cap, 25% in mid cap, and 25% in large cap. Hence, here in this case, there is a restriction on fund houses. Our sixth type of fund is Flexi Cap Fund, which removes the restriction of 25% fund allotment in each type. The fund manager invests money in three types of companies, that is, mid cap, small cap, and large cap. But there are no restrictions on the fund allocation like multi-cap funds. So in this way, the fund manager has the freedom, if he feels, in any year mid-cap companies are going to perform well, then he invests more money in mid-cap stocks during that year. And in case, if he sees any uncertainty in the market, then he can take out all that money and invest it in large cap shares for safer returns. Like this, the fund manager can manage your money and can reap better returns. Now you have understood the types of mutual funds. So the next question is, which type of mutual fund is right for you? Basically, to assess that you need to consider two things. First thing is your risk appetite, mean how much risk you can take. And the second one is your time horizon, as in for how long you want to stay invested in a mutual fund. So let's analyze the type of mutual funds on the basis of these two parameters. So first of all, if we talk about the large cap funds, you should only invest in the large cap fund when your time horizon is at least 3 to 5 years or more than that. Because if you invest in any equity-linked mutual fund for less than 3 years, then the risk is very high over there. As it is very difficult to say what will happen in the stock market in 2 to 3 years. But if you see in the long term, the stock market generally performs well. That's why, if you want to invest in large cap stocks for more than 3 years, then you can do that. But more importantly, personally I would say, never invest in any mutual fund for a period which is less than 3 years. Because there will be more risk and chances that you may incur loss and lose your capital as well. Now if we talk about risk appetite, and if you can take high risk, then these large cap stocks are not favorable for you. Because here your money is invested in all well-established large cap companies where the volatility is very low and the risk is also very low in the long term. Because of which the returns are also not very good. So, if you don't want to take much risk and want to earn decent returns, and your time horizon is more than 3 years, then large cap stocks will be best for you. Now if we talk about mid cap funds, then your money is invested in mid cap stocks. Mid cap are those stocks that are now established, but are also in the growing phase. So there is a little more risk than large cap, but there are also more chances of getting more returns than large cap funds. But mid cap funds are the best when your time horizon is at least more than 5 years. But it is still fine to invest in mid cap funds for 3 to 5 years. Next you have small cap funds, where your money is invested in India's small but growing companies. Here, in this case, your money is invested in such companies whose market cap is less than 5,000 or 7,000 crores. So there is a lot of risk involved, but the returns are also high here. If your risk appetite is very high, or you want to take more risks and earn more returns, then you should invest in small cap stocks. And ideally, your time horizon should be more than 5 years. If your time horizon is less than 5 years, then it will be better if you do not invest in small cap stocks. Let's move into multi-cap funds. Here in this case, because your money is invested in all three types of funds, then there is less risk than small cap. but still there is a good risk, because of which the chances of getting good returns are also high. But personally, I don't suggest you multi-cap funds because there is a limit on the fund manager that he has to invest at least 25% money in all types of stocks, due to which the flexibility of the fund becomes very limited and the fund manager does not get a chance to use his skills and knowledge. But if you still want to invest in it, then only invest when you can take high risks, and your time horizon should be at least 5 years. Now, if we talk about flexi-cap funds, there is no limit in terms of allocation of funds. The fund manager can invest your money in large cap, mid cap, or small cap stocks. That's why it's the best alternative to multi-cap fund, which we studied earlier. But you have to invest in flexi-cap funds when you want to invest for the long term and your time horizon is at least 5 years. When come to index funds, they are the safest among all equity mutual funds. Because India is a developing country, as India develops, our index will also increase. So, if you have invested in the index, then you will get decent returns. Suppose if you want to invest for the long term, say more than 5 years, or mid-term, say for 3 to 5 years, and you want to make a safe investment in equity, then you can invest in an index fund. And because this is a passive fund, the expense ratio is also low here. Let me explain this term, expensive ratio in layman's term. The expense ratio is the percentage that denotes the amount of money you are paying to the AMC as a fee to manage your investments. A reasonable expense ratio for an actively managed portfolio is about 0.5% to 1%, while an expense ratio greater than 1.5% is typically considered high these days. For passive or index funds, the typical ratio is about 0.2%, but can be as low as 0.02% or less in some cases. To conclude, if you want to invest for the long term and your risk appetite is high, then small cap funds or flexi cap funds will be the best option for you, because they can give you the best returns in comparison to your risk. Similarly, if you want to invest for the long term and your risk capacity is low, then index funds are the safest option for you. In case, if you want to invest for the midterm, say 3 to 5 years, and your risk appetite is high, then in this situation, index funds and mid-cap funds can be a good options. Now, if we talk about the short term, then in reality, equity funds are not at all for short-term investing, because equity-related funds are highly volatile, which increases the risk associated as well. Alternatively, in that case you can invest your money in fixed deposits or bonds, from where you can earn fixed income. Also you can safeguard your capital. So now you must have understood which fund is best for you according to your investment period and your risk capacity. Next question some of us may have, which is, why one should go for mutual funds, as one can directly invest in stocks, right? See, we all want to invest in great companies. But the issue is that we won't be having sufficient capital to invest in all of these quality companies. Suppose if you have 1 lakh rupees capital and want to purchase few shares of MRF tires, then it won't be possible for you to invest. Because only 1 share of MRF costs you roughly around 1,07,000 rupees. But with the help of mutual funds, we will have exposure to different companies, and with the less amount of capital that we invest, we will be able to have exposure on these quality stocks, which we would like to invest. Next advantage of mutual funds is that one can achieve diversification. Mutual funds diversify their portfolio and invests in different companies across different sectors. So even if one company or sector doesn't perform well, the risk of making any loss will be restricted, because we are invested in other companies as well. Next question we all might have is, where I can purchase mutual funds? Basically, there are three ways. First one is purchasing mutual funds through agent or distributor of a mutual fund, which I don't suggest you do, because these agents ends up selling us wrong mutual funds, wherein they earn good commission, which will be charged to us, impacting our overall returns from mutual funds. Next one is buying mutual funds directly through the website of the asset management company. Final option we have is, one can buy mutual funds through brokers like Zerodha, Angle Broking, Upstocks, etc. Personally, if you ask me, this is the best option I feel, as usually these brokers will have tie-up with most of the asset management companies or mutual fund houses, and we can buy most of the mutual funds, and we will be able to track all of these using a single application and don't need to check on multiple places or applications on how our mutual fund investments are performing even with the same broker. We can have stocks invested as well. There won't be any commission involved, and we need case if you want to open a demat account with one of the best brokers in India, that is Zerodha. Check out the link in description box, wherein you can buy mutual funds with the help of their app at 0% commission. Next question is, which one is better? Systematic investment plan or lump sum investment in mutual funds? Systematic investment plan allow you to pump in money into a mutual fund scheme periodically, such as daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or half-yearly, etc. On the other hand, lump sum investments are a one-time bulk investment in a particular scheme. The minimum investment amount also varies. I personally feel one should go for systematic investment plan rather than investing lump sum on a mutual fund. If you see, in systematic investment plan, we will be investing fixed amount at regular interval, and as investors, we don't have to monitor the market closely, and the amount of investment can be lower up to 500 rupees as well. More importantly, compounding in systematic investment plan works on the concept of earning interest on interest, which leads to exponential growth over time, and if you invest regularly in a SIP, even small amounts can accumulate into a significant corpus due to the power of compounding. That was all about investing in mutual funds. If you found this video useful, then please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such contents regularly. Thank you for watching.